I wanted to make another vid because, there's a lot going on in the world, and it kind of replicates anxiety, because it's all hush-hush, and no one's really overtly talking about it. And I want to talk about it. What is on the other side of the paradigm shift? Because this is coming, and I would prefer to know what's going on first, man, And I think there's an easy way to do that. We can just actually, I have the means there to enable people to relax, right? The profound experience at evaporating anxiety from consciousness. And so I've thought about this, what's on the other side of it, right? Well, as per in real time, how would life change? Okay, how would life change? Well, I believe everything would mostly stay the same as it is now. As per society, community, what we do, jobs, and these things we use to help our function, like money. Okay, so money will still be there, because money is really a way to store labour, and that's what we like to do. We like to keep on track of that. And we need to buy and sell stuff, and we need some means of transaction. And so money serves a very good purpose. So really, what would be different on the other side of the paradigm shift is the banking system will change. Now, we still need banks to look after our money, right? But because it's only this predatory instinct that anxiety actually causes people to just solely go after money. Because there's lots of people that have a lot of wealth, but they're not interested in wealth. They like the experience, man, and that's why they won't stop working, right? And I mean, like this boss I had just before. He owns the company. He's over 70, and he's still rocking it out as the general manager, mate. He's driving around town, checking everything out. Ringing me up like hardcore, having me itemise everything I've done. And I thought that was quite good. There was someone who was not averse to communicating, for sure. And that was real nice. That was real nice to see an owner completely plugged into what's going on. I like that. And so, yeah, the banking system thing, it'll change. You can't have any of that. There won't be any predatory financial philosophy where it's this money addiction thing. And the QAnon thing, the QAnon, if you look up War Drummer, he's onto QAnon's posts. QAnon sends these coded messages of how Trump's taking down the deep state. The deep state, the Illuminati, the secret society of money addicts. And, I still say, though, that money is only the speedometer of what's going on. It's not the money they're interested in, it's the experience of it. It's the experience they're getting from obtaining more money. And that's the feeling of power. And really they've designed their own prison for this, because what they've done is created a high quality experience of the creative spirit. Now, many people out there, they're watching this. You would have created something in your life, I mean, the obvious one is a child, of course. That's pretty obvious. But if you've made something, if you've spent a long time planning and executing that plan and all the little steps, so many steps, you know, sometimes hundreds of steps to get to the end result. You know, that's sticking loyal to the creative spirit. And so yeah, that will change. I think militaries will change. We won't need militaries anymore. And like for me, what I want to have happen is to get all of the white countries, get all the Caucasian peoples in the world and unite them as one people. We've got lots of languages in there, but we're actually all Caucasians. So unify all the Caucasian people into one group, and so that's what I want to do. And it's just an acknowledgement thing. It's not a political thing. It is to acknowledge. See, this is very material to our spirituality. To acknowledge our spirituality, we must acknowledge our people. It's what we need to do, because that being our true selves, we must bring everyone in and say this is our true selves. And it's not the military thing, because that's totally changed these days, man. You know, the war, the army that the US had when they entered Iraq would absolutely lose any fight it got into with a modern army, right? Because things have changed on the weapons front, eh? It's like, because those that believe in the creative spirit just will not stop, and that's what some of them do: design weapons and missiles and different stuff, man. You know, and it's only like, look, really, it's only this predatory value system in the US driving the central bank. Because if that wasn't happening, then Wall Street wouldn't be like it is. If that wasn't happening, then the intelligence communities, right, that wouldn't even exist. Okay, because the money is linked to the power, and the power is because they believe that they're a separate entity to the community. And so this is why you got to go down the rabbit hole to the bottom. And so that's, you know, this is where the revelation of the 8 laws comes from. It's from right at the bottom of the rabbit hole, right, of all this going on, right at the very bottom. And so yeah, if we get all the Caucasian countries together, you know, then it becomes a case that there's all the Caucasian people, right? And to that thing that is most precious to us, that is most important to us, which is our spirituality, actually. It is the creativity. Now, I think there's got to be a bit of a renaissance of awareness, right? Because there's so much creativity all around us, we've just forgotten what creativity is, man. I mean, everything is creativity. How much creativity is there in this video game? In this, all the software, all the lines of software in this video game, how creative have they had to have been to actually produce this, right? And so that's just one common everyday thing sitting around, you know. And so we've kind of got out of touch with the creative spirit, I think. What it actually is, we've got these references of these new things like Elon Musk, for example, what he's doing. Massive creative spirit going on there, real hardcore loyalty to a creative spirit. And but yeah, I think there's so much creative produce, the creative result. There's just so much around us, all around us. And we're actually spoilt, man. We can just turn the TV on or whatever and watch the other side of the world in real time. We can Skype someone on the other side of the planet in real time. So we're kind of spoilt, and we've lost our way. We've lost our contact with the creative spirit. Not as far as exercising the creative spirit, but to have fellowship with the creative spirit, to commune with the creative spirit on its terms, right? And so that's something I would have brought back, that, you know, and that really is the spirituality of Caucasian people. That is the thing of it. And so it could be said that while I'm saying that the creative spirit is a very senior element of consciousness, it's only a facet of that reality that consciousness presents to us. You know, if we were to appreciate it in its entirety, in the reality of actually what difference it makes to the experience that we're having. You know, what actually is it doing running around behind this blooming scenes, man, you know? And just to appreciate and acknowledge that's amazing. And so it comes to it that, you know what, if all the Caucasians get together as one spirituality group, okay, then it is a case of who values the same values. Okay, who values the same values? You know what, everyone does. You know, everyone does. Because in New Zealand, they say we're multicultural, and I'm saying bullshit. They're here for the economic reason, man. And so, see how this changes the ballgame completely. So the immigration thing, right? The immigration numbers that land here, they immediately have a representation as per the economy, and as per the finance agreement that their government actually works with. If those numbers are bigger, then we're in a better position according to the finance environment, you know, because we've got more kind of collateral to work with, right? And then they can speak different numbers on that end of it, right? Now, they just keep harping on that we're a multicultural society. See, they're lying. It's because of this economic thing. It's like their equation, you know. See, the equation is false because it keeps needing more input to maintain the same level of existence, man. It needs more input all the time. So I say let's throw that whole idea out the blooming window. I say let's just acknowledge that we're all Caucasians, right, in the world, and then get everyone who has the same values, who values those values, right, and we'll welcome them like family. That's what we do. That's what we're going to do, man. And so that's the point of what I'm doing. Because the you know, compared with consciousness, the physical body is immaterial. It's immaterial. And I mean, if you out there watching this, if you were born the opposite sex that you were born, you would just do that. Because that's the options, right? And that's the situation that would present to your consciousness that you'd, you know, found yourself alive in this other body. And so I'm really liking this idea, because if we can actually acknowledge consciousness, then not only will we forget about all of our differences as per men and women, and we'd automatically become equals everywhere. You know, and it wouldn't be just male to female, it would be all the ethnicities. Everyone would have to admit that everyone's the same, and everyone would have to admit consciousness is real, and then everyone would have to start acting in accordance to the values of consciousness. Because at the moment they don't. They just act according to the anxieties they've got, replicating the function of anxiety, and everyone buys into it like, pfft. and the governments are doing it, and governments do it because they're calling China a big threat in the Pacific, man. Geopolitical threat, taking over the sphere of influence and all that. And on the other side of the bloody table was flat out trying to maintain a relationship with them for trade. And really, it's quite a thing that the relationship between China and New Zealand is quite awesome, eh? And it's really based on the values of consciousness. It's getting along. That we're different makes absolutely no difference to it at all. We want to get along and do something cool. And that's all there is. And we know we're going to be friends for a long, long time. And so that the military had this report come out that there's some kind of threat was, to anyone who values relationships, it's massively insulting that they did that. It's actually really bad that they did that. Actually, I'm very unhappy about that they did that. And anyone would, so they're after these new military planes, and they've written this report to get the new military planes. And they trotted out that, which is disgusting. And but no one would deny them that we could use some new gear, because as the good mechanic engineers we are, we've kept these old things alive quite a long time. And no one would deny that we should get new ones. Because there's a lot of work we put in around monitoring fisheries, and we do rescue work, and we do deliveries and stuff, and then we take politicians do use the Air Force stuff to fly around the place a bit, and so that they trotted out this friggin' thing that China's a threat, when actually they're not. They're playing this really dishonest, deceptive game, and at the absolute minimum, they are operating as a separate thing to the community, and they've got separate values. You know what I mean? And it's very upsetting, actually. And so, yeah, that's the wild world I want. Get all the Caucasians together for a start, and then anyone who likes our values, they're totally treated as equals on that basis, for the love of the creative spirit and the love of each other. And this is the thing of it, man. So yeah, I just thought I'd say something about that, because it's like, I've listened to this warmongering thing through the media my whole life, and I'm just sick of it, man. It's like, it's totally nothing to do with the community. And here we have them saying there's a big economic downturn coming. It's nothing to do with the community, because all the community does is create wealth through physical activity. And so we're doing nothing but creating new wealth all the time. And so for them to imply that it's our responsibility to worry about growth, I think they need to be told they need to shut up, because they're acting like junkies, eh? They really are. That's a total flat out lie they're telling us about that, And there's a whole range of subjects they do that to. And it's like they're junkies because they can't seem to think. They think they're basing what they're saying on reality, but it's completely different to what the community think. And hey, anyway, just a quick one there. I just thought I'd say that, and so there'll be another one very shortly.